Hey, what's up you guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name's Anna if you didn't already know that, and I filmed this look. It's not really a look, but this is really my everyday makeup routine. So I filmed that for you guys. I hope you like it. And yeah, let's get into the video. So first step, we're going to be using my CeraVe Ultra Lightweight Moisturizer in PM. I don't know if the nighttime versus daytime actually makes a difference, but this one I've noticed just makes my skin not greasy when I put on moisturizer. The next thing I sometimes like to do on my drier days is use my Teak Naturals Rose Water. The difference between this one and the Mario Badescu is that this is 100% rose extract versus the Mario Badescu having some additives into it. So next I'm just going to be putting some of my setting spray. I don't really know if this actually does something or not, but for some reason when I do it I feel like I don't get as oily as I do versus when I don't do it. Next, I'm going to be taking my sample size of the Smashbox Photo Finish Primerizer. It's a primer that they just came out with that has an added moisturizer to it. I am having a love-hate relationship with this. I noticed that I do get a little oily on my T-zone, but it's completely controllable. Next, I'm going to be using my Urban Decay Eyeshadow Primer Potion. I've used this for years and I don't think I'm ever going to stop using it. I just like to put a good amount on my eyelids, as you can tell. And my eyeshadow is good today for the rest, it's just good for the rest of the day. Next, as you can tell, I do have some acne marks and dark marks from previous pimples. What I like to do is take my NYX color corrector. It's almost like a salmon color. It's supposed to be for underneath your eyes, but I've noticed that when I use this for my acne marks, it's easier to cover them with the foundation afterwards. So yeah, I'm just going to take it on my ring finger and put it on my problem areas. Next, I'm just going to take my damped Real Techniques Beauty Sponge. It's already damp, but I noticed that it was a little dry, so I'm just going to take a little bit of my rose water and dampen it just a little more so it's easier to blend everything out. So the foundation that I like to use for my everyday routine is the 220 Maybelline Fit Me in the matte finish. I also don't put the foundation on the back of my hand or on a plate. I just put it directly onto the sponge just because I think it saves more time and it's less of a cleanup. So I'm just going to spread that all over my face, and I'm going to be dabbing my face with the sponge. I'm not really light about this. I kind of do this with a heavy hand just because I feel like it blends it out better. I did zoom past a little bit of doing that. So next I'm going to be taking my Anastasia Brow Wiz in the shade Taupe and my Anastasia Pomade in the shade Soft Brown. I like to go ahead and take the Brow Wiz spoolie end of the pencil and just brush out my non-existent eyebrow hairs so it's easier for an application. The only reason why I like using the Brow Wiz lately is that as you can see, I like making little feather strokes. I can do the same thing with the pomade, it just takes more of a lighter hand and more time. And with this, I can be a little rougher about it. It is a lighter shade, so I'm able to do it a lot easier than I would be with a brush. So I just do that to the inner parts of my eyebrows, and then I'm going to be taking the Anastasia pomade to do the outer ends of my eyebrows. So with this product, a little bit goes a long way. Like, as cliche as that sounds, this product is very pigmented and I don't have to use a whole lot of it. A whole pomade lasts me a good year, if not more. So I just like to do the bottom parts. I outline it and then I slowly start to move it upwards just so you get more a lighter touch to it than heavy. And then I take a little bit more of the product and I start doing the outline of my eyebrows so it's a little bit more defined. Also, by the way, if you can hear my laptop, I'm so sorry. For some reason, it's just wanting to be loud. But yeah, so I'm just going to be taking the brush. The brush, by the way, is from Anastasia. It's their only eyebrow brush. The next thing I like to do with my eyebrows is I like to take a concealer and carve it out, but I don't just take the wand. I put the product on the back of my hand, and then I have two brushes. These are from Eco Tools. I don't know if they still sell them or if they were in a set, but one's a really flat top brush and the other one's a little bit of a fluffy flat top brush. But I just take the super flat one and I put the concealer on both ends of it equally. And then I'm just going to go ahead and put it underneath my eyebrows and start carving them out. I don't tend to carve out the top of my eyebrows just because I make the line straight enough. It's the underneath of my eyebrows that I struggle with. So I don't put the concealer on the top just because I don't like the way it looks on me personally. But if you do that, all power to you. You got some strong brows. And when I do this, it does take a lot of focus for some reason, because if I mess up, then it just gets into my eyebrows and then it's just a mess. So after I put the concealer, I'm just going to take the other brush that has no product in it and just start blending it all out. I like to pull the concealer downwards just so it makes my eyelid a little more even and not discolored. And then I just do the exact same thing to the other side. So now going back with my Anastasia brush and pomade, I like to dip it in a little bit and start doing more feathery strokes on my inner eyebrows. I do this just because it looks a little more natural. It looks as if I have actual hairs doing that instead of makeup. And then next with my Maybelline Fit Me Concealer, as you can tell, I've noticed that I've missed a step. But my Maybelline Fit Me Concealer in the shade Light, I'm just going to put that underneath my eyebrows. Oh my god, not my eyebrows, my eyes. I'm going to go ahead and put that underneath my eyes. I like to put a heavy amount just because it is a drugstore concealer. And then I'm going to be taking my LA Girl concealer that I like to use for contouring in the shade Fawn. And I'm just going to put that on the tops of my forehead, on the sides of my cheek, and where I would usually have a contour. I really do enjoy these concealers technically. They really do their job. And as you can tell, I don't use a brush. I do have a buffing brush, but I personally just like using my fingertips. I'm sure that will change eventually down the line, but I just like using my fingertips to blend it all in just because I have more control over what I'm doing. Then I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit more concealer onto where I think it might be dry and on the bridge of my nose. And I'm going to go ahead and take my sponge and blend that all out. The next thing I'm going to be using is my Coty Airspun Loose Face Powder in the shade Translucent. So it's just a translucent powder. I have been using this for a couple years now, ever since I saw Patrick Starr do this. And I'm just going to go ahead and bake anywhere I think I might be oily or anywhere I just necessarily want to bake, which is, as you can tell, my entire face. So after I let that set, I'm just going to go ahead and take my face powder and put that on the areas that I did not bake, which is not a lot. And then I'm going to go ahead and bake off. Take off the baking powder. And then once I see that all the baking powder is gone, I'm just going to go ahead and move on to my eyeshadow. I just have a IT Cosmetics blending brush and my Morphe 350 palette. And I'm just going to be taking that light orange shade as my transition shade, just so that I have an easier time blending and it looks like a gradient. I'm just going to put that all over my eyelid. I'm focusing it more on the outer edges and inside rather than my eyelid. Now I'm going to take the brown that is right next to it And I'm just gonna darken up more inwards of where I put the orange eyeshadow beforehand. So I'm not very good at blending, but I'm just trying to make sure that I blended it all correctly. Next, I'm going to be taking my MAC 217 brush and this darker shade of brown, and I'm just going to be focusing that on the outer corners of my eyelid, just for more depth. I don't like putting it on the inside too much because the eye look then becomes a little bit too dark to be worn, in my opinion. But I'm just going to repeat that on both sides, and then look at myself to make sure that it's fine. And then next I'm just going to take my ring finger and that shimmery shade of brown, and I'm just going to be putting that all over my eyelids just so it looks put together. In the camera it's not really picking up, but in real life it just looks like I took a long time on my eyeshadow, when in reality it probably took me a good 5 minutes. So I'm just going to brush away any fallout, and then I'm going to take a small shading brush, and I'm just going to take that brown that was next to that orange and put it underneath my eyes, just so that my under eyes are not bare. I have only recently been doing that. I noticed that it makes my eyes pop a little more, and all I did was curl my eyelashes and put some mascara on. I decided to skip all that just because everyone knows, or for the most part knows, how to put on eyelashes. How to put on mascara and curl your eyelashes. So next I'm taking this eyeliner and I'm just going to be tight lining my eyes just because I'm going to be putting on falsies. And I'm going to be using these Artisan lashes. I did order these off Amazon and they are my new obsession. I'm going to put a link to most things that I used in the description box, especially the ones that I got off Amazon. And all I did was put on the eyelash glue on my eyelashes, and while I wait for that to get tacky, I'm just going to be using my Bahama Mama bronzer and putting that on all the places that I wanted to contour beforehand, just so it deepens it up a little bit. And I don't know if you could tell, that is not a contour brush, that is definitely a blush brush, but I love it for this purpose. I do use a heavy hand when it comes to bronzer just because I like my face to be a little more bronze. And then I use this flat top brush to contour my nose. I do contour my nose every day just because I personally don't like my nose that much. So next I'm going to be using this Tarte blush in the shade Essential. I really do like this blush because it's not too pink and it's not too orange. It's just a really good deep peach, and I love the way it makes me look because it makes me look a little bit more tan, and it's just such a pretty color. So I apply that all over with a blush, and now that my eyelashes are tacky, I'm able to just stick them right on. And then I'm just going to do the other side. I do like to wear falsies just because it makes my makeup look like I did a lot, when in reality I just sticked on some falsies and bam, it looks completely different. So the next thing I'm going to be doing is highlighter. I'm going to be using this e.l.f. brush, which is a blush brush, and then I'm going to be spraying some setting spray on it just so it gets a little wet. I'm also going to be using the Cindy Luminizer. So as you can tell, that mirror is completely shattered, and it's because my boyfriend dropped me onto my highlighter. So I'm just going to be taking that brush and putting it onto my cheekbones. I really like this highlighter just because it's a nice pink shade. And I'm just going to be taking anything that was on my lips off and putting on chapstick, and then setting my entire face. And that is basically my entire look for the day. Bye guys!